Justin Goldsboro. I'm here with Jenny Schmitt from Cloudspark, and this is 52 Comms Mixup, and this is the second video that we've done in this series. The real deal is to try to interview 52 different communications professionals throughout the year, and Jenny's been nice enough to join us for this video, so thanks, Jenny.
Thanks.
Absolutely, and we're going to go through our 4 questions here. So the format is 2 questions about the business, about Jenny's business, 1 question about something kind of fun, and then 1 about a cause or area that the person's passionate about. And so let's get started.
All right, that sounds great.
Right,
Thanks
Jenny,
for having me, by the way.
Absolutely. So Jenny, you told us that one of the questions you get asked a lot is one of the questions that I had for you first, which is, why Cloudspark? Where's that name come from for your business? How did you come up with it?
It's actually probably the most frequent question. Not what do you do, not tell me how you get started. It's why do you why is your company named Cloudspark? And I actually went through the naming process, took myself through the naming process. I knew I didn't want to be, Schmitt and Associates or the Jenny Schmitt Group or, Jenny Schmitt PR. It just didn't work for me because it's not about me. It's really about my clients and about the clients we work with. So Cloudspark was really this idea of, when you're in a lot of companies, they tend to get into a fog, and it's really that one idea, that one spark that kind of like all of a sudden takes the clouds away, right. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's what I was looking for. So that's where it really comes from. It's the idea of, you start in a cloud and then one spark comes along and, lights the whole way. I
love that. That's cool. Yeah, we talk about it here like it's at Fleischman, like it's the light bulb moment. And, you think it's so cliche because they just show it in, shows all the time or cartoons, but it really does happen sometimes.
It really does. And, I talk a lot about I wear welly boots to meetings because I'm a professional unstucker, but a lot of companies that we work with kind of come to us when they're at that stuck moment. Yeah. And it just it happens for a whole bunch of reasons. It happens for sometimes lack of strategy, sometimes new people come in, all different kinds of reasons. But all of us eventually in a company will get stuck, and we need help getting unstuck. And it is that light bulb moment. It's that one spark, that one idea, that one something that just kind of clears the way. And so that's where Cloudspark came from. I'm in my 7th year, so it seems to be working.
Very cool. No, I love the name.
Thanks.
Okay, so the second question I wanted to ask you, Jenny, and this is a big one for me because I used to work in corporate America. I know a little bit about silos. I love on your Twitter bio it says Silo Slayer. Big fan of anyone out there trying to slay silos. Tell me what you mean by that and how you guys do that at Cloudspark.
In companies, there's a natural division of roles that has to happen. When you first start a company, someone's got to do sales, someone's got to do the research and product development. And as we grow as companies, a lot of times it's hard to break those down, especially as you kind of get to a scale. You want your company to work together. You want one department to talk to another, but we set up budgets, we set up divisions and responsibilities so that really we end up reinforcing the silos that we don't necessarily intend to. And so when I say that I'm a silo slayer and, pack on the armor or whatever happens to be, when we come in as a communications agency for a company or a communications consultant, it's really to work across the platform. It's to look at the entire organization from a 360-degree standpoint and say, where's it being inefficient? Where's it being ineffective? And how can we work together? For example, with the introduction of social media, we can just say, for the last 5 years, it's become shiny new object, but it's really become the new tool. Well, who owns it? Who's doing what? Right. As opposed to saying, how can this department use it and this department use it? And then how can we layer it in over here with this and this, with how can we layer it in? So to break down silos is to say, what if nobody owns the website? What if we all owned it? What if nobody owned customer service? What if we all owned it? What if nobody owned, the relationship with the media? What if we all took ownership of that for the betterment of the brand and the bottom line? And a lot of times you walk into companies and you get people saying, well, this is my piece of the pie, and you're not going to touch it because your budget comes out of here. And I can go back and we can say, well, my budget can help you and help your division, help your structure if we're all focused on the customer, if we're all focused on that end result, a sale, a relationship, whatever it happens to be. But you've got to, people get very ingrained, especially when it comes to budget and territory and I'm really great at this and I'm going to prove it, as opposed to, we're all there to build a career, and our jobs and our work, but we're also there to build really great companies. And really great companies have figured out how to cross the silo and how to slay them. And so when I walk in, I have that attitude. My background's in marketing. I wasn't a PR major. I was actually an international business major.
Right.
Went into marketing and then, narrowed into PR and said, wait a second, this is a function of marketing, which is a function of the larger company. And it was a natural evolution for me to call myself a silo slayer.
Yeah.
I don't like when people steal pieces of the pie. It's all one.
Exactly.
It's all one pie, people.
Well, what I love about what you said is that we're all in this together to focus on the customer, right? And I think you're right. Budgets make it harder and divisions make it harder between department, but that really is the end goal, especially in today's day and age. So, yeah, it totally makes sense, that point of view.
It is, and if you set up goals, from an organizational standpoint, if managers and the higher levels can set up goals,
right,
where there's more shared responsibility and more your motivation, more your bonuses, are layered throughout working together, are built in so that you're working together,
right,
you're going to end up start to break down silos. Because it's, how many times have we heard a CEO or some new manager come in and they say, we're going to do things different. And yet they don't change the way budgets are structured, or they don't change the way rewards are structured, or motivators are structured, and then they expect change, and it doesn't happen. You have to change in little ways, maybe not completely smash them to start, because it might shock the organization. But make small changes that are going to eventually get you to where you want to be as a vision as a company. 100% focused on the customer, and your teams working together easily, naturally, for the benefit of that brand bottom line and the customer experience.
Yeah, no, I think you're right on there. I love talking about this. I could talk silos all day, but
I know, me too. We have integrated marketing chat, once a week, and I'm like, I could talk about it every day.
Yeah, I know that is a great chat that Beth and Ana Barcelos do. I like that one a lot too. You've got a section on your website I really liked called Recommended Readings. And I think we try to share a lot of content with our clients here too, and it sounds like you do, about things that you can read to be more educated or just see kind of what the latest trends are. I love asking people this: what if you could recommend one thing you've read this year that people should read about our business? What would it be? What comes to mind?
The book this year, we're still early in the year. I'm a voracious reader, but I would say Rework from Jason. I think it's Fried or Fried. But Rework is the book I would recommend. I'm only about 3/4 of the way through it, but it's really given me a fundamental shift in the way I'm looking at the structure of the day. Not so much the structure of the company, so to speak, but more of how I'm structuring my work. And it was recommended me by people on Twitter, and I'd heard about it, and I love Jason's writing that he does for Inc. magazine and a couple of others. And so I was like, well, I'll read it. Is it saying the same thing, that we see in other business books, just rewritten with a different analogy? And it's not. It's a real fundamental shift in the way you look at work and the efficiencies and how you can be not just more efficient, but better with the time that you're putting into your job. So I think that's the next one that's going to go on the website right now.
Good. No, I'll have to check that one out. One of my goals for this year is to read more, so that'll be a good one for me to start with. So.
I think it was last year. I think Todd Schmitt, who's on Twitter. I don't know if you follow him.
I do know Todd. Huh?
Yeah, I think he read 52 books in 52 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
I can't quite do that.
That's
because
ambitious.
Then I start reading to get through. Yeah, I'm like, in business books you have to be kind of careful, because from my perspective, a lot of business books are the same thing, just written with a different analogy.
Right. So
if I read a business book, I want it to actually mean something. So I'm reading, Rework is really good, and then I've got a couple on social media behind that, but I haven't gotten to them yet. So.
Okay. Well, yeah, we can follow up on those later. I'm always looking for book recommendations, so yeah, it'll be good to hear how those start out.
Me too.
Last question I want to ask you, Ginny, and I ask everybody this who does a 52 Comms Mixup interview is, it seems like everybody has a cause or something they're really passionate about. And we don't get enough opportunities, I think, to try to raise awareness about what those are and share with people why it's important to us. So the question I would ask you is there a specific cause or a specific passion area that you have that you want to share with people who are watching this video?
Well, first of all, thanks for including that, because I think it's so important for us to use the time that we do have to not just talk about ourselves. So I really appreciate that. The Getting2Tri Foundation, and it's getting the number 2 and then TRI as in triathlon, is a foundation I've been working with now for I think about 4, maybe even 5 years. Actually, I can't quite recall. And what G2T does, what Getting2Tri does, is they take folks that are either have amputations or they're paralyzed, and they get them into the sports of triathlon, so running, swimming, and cycling.
Wow. Okay.
And why I feel so passionate about this is because when you're injured or you suffer a traumatic injury or you're born with some sort of defect that, that somehow doesn't make you as able-bodied as everyone else, a lot of times rehab will take you to the point of functionality. So they'll take you to the point where you can dress yourself and you can walk in and out the door, you can get around, but they don't take you back to the field of play.
Right.
And to me, there's a real essence of joy that we're given as a gift that comes with play. And Getting2Tri does that. They take people who never thought they would be on a bike, or who never thought that they would be able to run on prosthetics, or who never thought they'd be able to swim because they don't have one of their arms. And then not only can they do well, they can compete. And so Mike Lenhart is the founder of that. Not only does he work with, he works with people who've never even run, 2 steps, to people competing at the Kona, World Championship, Ford World Championships in Kona, Hawaii. He works with that huge range. And I think with, the number of wounded warriors we're having coming back, and with just the more awareness that just because you're in a wheelchair doesn't mean you just want to be able to get around your house. Everybody wants that joy of play, and that's why I love what they're doing at Getting2Tri. It seems so simple, and there's so many things in the world that need fixing, but this is that one area. It's just real small, and it's making a huge difference for the people that matter. Huge difference.
Yeah, that sounds like a really incredible organization. What's the website again? Is Getting and then the number 2 TRI.org?
Org. Yeah,
.org.
Getting2Tri.org.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Well, we'll make sure people that want to definitely check it out. That's such a cool cause. I don't know if you saw it the other day, but I noticed over the weekend that the man who won the college wrestling. Did you see this college wrestling championship?
Isn't that a great story?
Yeah, he was born without one leg, right? Isn't that the story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and it's not this. Your sense of competition doesn't go away. Your sense of play doesn't go away.
Right.
Just because you don't either have use of a limb or you don't have a limb, and we somehow, I think, in society kind of either don't see these people, or we marginalize them, or we think, oh, that's good for them. They're driving a car. Isn't that great? But there's more to life than just the basics of function. And I think, you heard that story about the college wrestler, and it's like he just wanted to do what he did best and compete and win. And that's what he did.
Yeah. Oh, I know. The interviews with him were amazing. It was just like, to him, you're right. It was all about the competition. And it wasn't that big. He probably wouldn't even mention the leg thing if it wasn't just something everybody could see,
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I always love this. There's a notable amputee. He's a double amputee. His name is Scott Rigsby, and he's one of the first athletes that Getting2Tri had. And he was the first double amputee to run a marathon on prosthetics. He was the first double amputee to complete Kona, and he's a big guy. This is not someone that you would look at and say, oh, he's a natural athlete, right? Not just because he doesn't have legs, but he's just a big guy. And I always love his story because, he wears shorts year round, right? Because his legs can't get cold.
Right.
But he can also adjust his legs so that he's different heights. And back when he's married now, back when he was dating, he would say, well, what height do you want me to be? Actually,
that's awesome.
Change his legs, Before his accident, I think he was 6 feet, but he's like, I can be as much as 6'3" if I really wanted. Oh, the advantages you have,
Right. That's funny.
He also liked walking around in shorts because kids would come up and ask, much to the mortification of their parents, right? But he loved telling them, oh, no, it's titanium this, and it, it does this and this, and but I always love that story. He could adjust his height based on the date's preference.
That's great. It's great that he had that attitude about it.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
It is. It took a long time to get there, but, but yeah.
Well, thanks, Jenny, so much for taking the time. We really appreciate the conversation, and best of luck in the future with Cloudspark and Get2Tri. Or Get2Tri, yeah.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to catch the rest of the series. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for putting it together.
Okay, absolutely. Thanks, Jenny.
Sure. Have a good afternoon.